Imagine peering through a time telescope, its lens stretching from the smoky dawn of humankind to the blue glow of modern devices. What do we see? Always it's us, restless, resilient, endlessly inventive, reshaping ourselves and our world with every turn of the centuries. In this journey, we'll glide across millennia, pausing alongside brilliant breakthroughs, harrowing ordeals, and the quiet, everyday acts that have woven our story. Our voyage begins more than 3 million years ago, somewhere in Africa. Here, in volcanic ash, Australopithecus leaves footprints that puzzle and inspire future scientists. With slow, steady persistence, brains grow larger, hands grasp sharper tools, and a new species, Homo sapiens, emerges. Picture small bands of people moving through vast grasslands, hunting and gathering, sharing stories by the flicker of firelight and etching dreams onto the walls of hidden caves. For hundreds of thousands of years, survival means cooperation, adaptability, and an understanding of the natural world. About 12,000 years ago, the climate steadies. For some, chasing herds gives way to seeding the earth. In the Fertile Crescent, wild wheat takes root under watchful eyes. Along the rivers of China, rice paddies mirror early skies. Maize fills Mesoamerican fields. With agriculture arrives a revolution. Surplus food. Permanent settlements blossom, Çatalhöyük, Jericho, and others, giving birth to experiments in dense living. New benefits bring new problems. Household trash piles up, diseases spread in crowded quarters, and debates arise about control of land, water, and stored grain. Human ambition swells beside water's steady promise. The first cities arise on fertile floodplains. Sumerian engineers in Mesopotamia tame rivers with canals. Egyptian farmers follow the pulsing heartbeat of the Nile. The Indus Valley surprises with grid-planned streets and indoor plumbing, while Shang rulers in early China consult their ancestors by inscribing questions onto bones. Monumental architecture, ziggurats, pyramids, palaces, announces the scale of power. To keep track of expanding societies and taxes, writing is born. Cuneiform, hieroglyphs, Chinese scripts, each inscribe prayers, laws, and daily business onto clay and stone. Metals define ages, bronze blades shift to iron plows, and the pace of change quickens. Trade routes unfurl across deserts and mountains, and with every caravan come not only goods, but myths, ideas, and even diseases. Stories and strategies cross borders, shaping ever more connected worlds. Now, witness classical flowerings and flourishing empires. Phoenician traders scatter their alphabet around the Mediterranean. Greek city-states experiment with democracy and philosophy, setting standards debated for millennia. Rome stretches its roads, laws, and aqueducts across Europe, North Africa, and the Near East, seeking order and control. In India, the Mauryan and Gupta dynasties advance science and invent zero, an idea that changes mathematics forever. The Han dynasty in China builds a formidable bureaucracy, testing officials on Confucian wisdom meant to harmonize family and state. Elsewhere, vibrant cultures bloom. African kingdoms like Kush and Aksum command Red Sea trade, while Mayan astronomers chart Venus from stone observatories deep in the jungle. Polynesian navigators, guided only by stars and waves, discover specks of land scattered across the Pacific's immensity. Throughout this era, new religions and philosophies reshape how people see the universe and their roles within it. Buddhism's message of compassion, Judaism's ethical monotheism, Confucian harmony, Christian salvation, each asks, in its own way, how best to live. After the Western Roman Empire falls, Byzantium gleams on as a beacon of wealth and learning. Islam rises in the Arabian deserts, spreading rapidly through scholarship, artistry, and new legal and scientific traditions. In China's Tang and Song dynasties, poets and inventors flourish. Gunpowder, the compass, and movable type subtly but surely transform daily life. Commerce accelerates. Camels trudge salt and gold across the Sahara. Dhows harness monsoon winds over the Indian Ocean. Vikings venture into the chill North Atlantic, and Mongol horsemen connect Beijing to Baghdad to Venice, briefly shrinking the world. Trade and travel spread not only wares, but also words, music, stories, and diseases, most devastatingly the Black Death, which ravages Eurasia in the 14th century. Within each society, people adapt. Mali's Mansa Musa funds libraries in Timbuktu. The Khmer Empire's engineers design marvelous waterworks at Angkor. Ancestral Puebloans carve cliffside villages. Maori cultivate rugged hillsides in Aotearoa. Often unsung, women manage markets, chronicle sacred texts, govern courts, and keep homes, spreading knowledge and sustaining communities through generations. The world tightens further as oceans are crossed. From the late 15th century, European mariners, equipped with new sailing technology, venture out. Columbus's landfall in the Americas triggers the Columbian Exchange, an ecological transfer of crops, animals, and diseases unseen in history. The consequences are double-edged. Potatoes and maize spark population booms, while European pathogens ravage indigenous communities. Silver wrenched from the Americas floods world markets, binding continents together in commerce and violence. The Atlantic slave trade, driving plantation economies in the Americas, uproots millions of Africans and leaves a legacy of suffering and resilience. In Asia, powerful empires, Ming and Qing China, Mughal India, Tokugawa Japan, take unique approaches to the global surge, shaping encounters with outsiders and maintaining rich, intricate societies inside their borders. Women's lives, too, are defined by these shifting frontiers. Some become cultural mediators or fighters for freedom. Others are forced into new forms of bondage. By the 18th century, the seeds of revolution take root. Enlightenment ideas incubate in coffeehouses and pamphlets, stoking movements for liberty and equality in America, France, and beyond. Underneath these rallies are crucial questions about who is truly included in declarations of rights, underscored by the words and actions of women, enslaved people, and colonized populations. In Haiti, a successful revolt led by formerly enslaved citizens shapes a global pattern of anti-colonial struggle. Meanwhile, the clatter of machines heralds the Industrial Revolution, coal and steam fuel factories, railways, and the explosive growth of cities. Life improves for some, but at enormous environmental and human cost: hard labor, child sweatshops, polluted skies. In response, workers organize, scientists advocate reform, and the balance of power among nations shifts fast, laying tension for future conflicts. The 20th century arrives as an era of both catastrophe and innovation. Industrialization turns war into slaughter. The First World War upends Europe, with entire populations mobilized and devastated. The influenza pandemic that follows claims more lives than combat. New ideologies take root and clash. The Russian Revolution births the Soviet Union as the Great Depression shakes economies globally. The Second World War follows, even more deadly. Cities burn, the Holocaust unfolds, and atomic bombs devastate Japan. The promise, never again, stands as both vow and warning, etched into the modern consciousness. The world divides along ideological lines in the decades that follow. The United States and Soviet Union stand poised in nuclear tension, fighting proxy wars on distant continents. But during this Cold War, an unstoppable current of decolonization sweeps Asia, Africa, and beyond, as peoples long under foreign rule demand and win independence. New global institutions form to manage cooperation and conflict, while the scientific frontier expands to DNA, space, and the first alarms about ecological peril. The wall dividing East and West Berlin falls, but global inequalities and conflicts linger. Now, globalization knits billions into a tangled, near-instantaneous conversation. Supply chains, climate, and culture transcend borders, altering economies and personal lives. Digital technology promises an age of open knowledge while revealing new divides of access, opportunity, and power. The climate crisis looms as the ultimate challenge: melting ice, storm-wrenched coasts, and fires signal danger as youth raise their voices and innovators seek solutions, balancing the scales between prosperity and planet. Throughout this sweeping story, our understanding of the past depends on how and whose stories are told. Modern historians sift through everything from ancient scrolls to satellite images, from oral histories to the algorithms of big data. They ask, whose voices shape the record? How do power and perspective twist or illuminate the truth? Answers to these questions shape not only our sense of the past, but also the path we carve toward the future. What you've just heard is a scaffold, just the beginning. Every civilization, every time period holds details, debates, and perspectives waiting to enrich the story. Dive deeper into a culture or event that sparks your curiosity. Question sources. Look for echoes of history in today's headlines. Because history is not a closed book. It's the ever-renewing dialogue between yesterday and tomorrow. And, right now, your part in its unfolding.